All right, welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Cheryl Meyer. I am a licensed clinical psychologist in my day job and a mom as well. And today I'm going to talk thoroughly. I wrote so many notes for us. I have 12 ways for us to heal from trauma. And I also created this time for this video for you guys, I created a picture, a poster, a PDF, so that you'll have something that you can have for yourself. So go in the links below, and there's going to be a link to where you can get that for yourself. So you'll have the list in front of you. So we're going to spend, we'll see, about 5 minutes on each one, and I could talk probably for about 4 hours on each one. So I want you to know, though, this is going to be, sit back, this is going to be an hour long or so. I only have an hour, so you are worth it. This is talking about 12 ways to heal from trauma, from sexual trauma, or from any kind of trauma you've had. Trauma is like when someone steps over our boundaries, and or sometimes you can have trauma from feeling not seen at all in childhood. Sometimes our parents can be addicts or something, and they're off in their own world, or they're disconnected from their own feelings and their own self, or they're wounded from their own traumas, and so they're just numb, and there's this barrier, and we don't feel loved and known. And so sometimes you'll see. So first, I want to tell you that I welcome people of all faiths here. Everything that I've written and recorded, I wrote this all down here, a bunch of it, and then I typed it out for us, so I'll have it in front of me so I can read some of it. Usually I'm just ad-libbing all of my videos. I have over 700 videos on YouTube, so there's so much for you to go to get healing, but this is going to be specifically these 12 ways we can heal from trauma, so that as much as can be covered will be right here. And so I wrote that everything that I say here, is from my own personal experience and journey of living within the collective that we are in. I've been a psychologist for over 20 years, studied it for over 30. And so I really want to know how to give people, give myself and give others, give my clients and give you guys for free here on YouTube, or wherever this video is going to be posted. I want to give you the deepest. I always want to get to the core of the problem, not just a surface solution, but get to the core of the deepest way that we can solve this that will last. And so that's why this is going to take so long, because you're worth it. You are always worth it. Know that you are worth it, and you're going to get healing today, because I am going to do my very best to teach you what I've learned over the past 30 plus years. I wrote here that I've also had theological training. A lot of that, I almost have my master's. I was missing like 2 classes because I didn't get a double master's. I got my master's and my doctorate in psychology, but my graduate program studied theology as well. So we'll talk about that. And so my own personal relationship with divine love, aka God, I encourage you to see beyond your ego mind barriers. Don't worry about what I look like, or if I don't look like you, like, let that go. If I don't have the same faith practice as you, let it go. Take what you can from this. I'm going to be speaking from my own faith practice, but I have lots of friends, people in my family that are atheists, lots of friends that are different religions. I'm really big in this mindfulness crowd of listening to them and communicating there as well. And so, and I work with people of all different kinds of faith in my practice that find me. So I just encourage you, be present, look beyond that. All we're doing here is getting to the core of how to bring healing to you, so that your life is not orbiting around trauma from the past. And I will draw that out right here in the 12 ways to heal from trauma. Okay, So I wrote down here that we're all souls living in human bodies created by the same creator. And so it's my understanding that this creator wants everyone to know love, to know healing, to know truth. So I'm doing my best to express it here. Everything that I'm saying here, even what I just said, has a purpose. I'm building on a foundation, and there's layers of that foundation. And so all of the 12 ways have been ways that I myself have been healing from different kinds of trauma um, um, that have happened in my childhood and beyond that. So I know what it's taken to get me from there to here, and what it's taken my clients. And so know right now that you are worth the work. You're worth the work, okay? And my guitar's over there, or I'd show you. It's like, is it work to play the guitar? Yes, it's work, but it's fun. And so you can have fun learning how to heal from this. It doesn't have to be all serious and all horrible and all dredging up stuff. I'll talk about that, right? I'm going to be, because I've learned to be very careful about bringing up all this old stuff. You don't want to run from it, but you don't want to feed it. And the egotism loves drama and loves for you to feed this whole victim mentality. So I am not teaching victim mentality. I'm teaching you how to rise up above this, so you no longer have to live in that way. And I know, because I've made over 700 videos now, I know now for over the last 3 years, like that's a lot, right? But I know what is important and what needs to be communicated, and what will heal us. I just know that. I trust that. I trust God. God brought me to this moment for you, because you are worth it, and you're always worth it. Okay. So I invite you to trust that there is a reason for what I'm saying. And oh, like a foundation, I said it's like a puzzle. I have a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle downstairs, and it's like all of these pieces, you see them all, and there's like, it's roses, so it's like clusters of roses, but it's like, understand that all of these pieces do go together, and they're all worth being there. So it's okay, okay? It's okay. Whatever happened to you in your past, you're going to be okay, all right? Our egotism goes to that place of I'm not worthy, or I'm unlovable, or I can't cope. You know, I learned that from this guy named James Lee. Anyway, he's great on YouTube. But if I mention people, I don't always agree with all of what they say, but some of the stuff is just so incredibly poignant and right to the point, and so good for us. So I'll say that I got those 3 from him. I liked how he organized those. But know that you don't have to be overwhelmed. Take deep breaths throughout as I'm speaking these things. I invite you to trust, like I said, that there is a reason for each of these things. Bear with me when I read some of this stuff. Usually, like I said, I'm just talking, but I want you to have all of these points. So I'll quote Jesus too. He says, and Jesus is always speaking about the highest consciousness, the highest level of consciousness. I want you to know this. Right? This is from David Hawkins. He wrote this in a book about letting go, or one of those books. And so look, high up here is enlightenment and peace and compassion and joy and reason and judgment. And acceptance, and willingness, neutrality, courage. Right when you get into pride and anger and desire and fear and grief and apathy and guilt and shame is at the bottom, these are expanded states. These are contracted states. This is when we shut down and we're in our fear state and guilt and not moving. There's not a lot of flow in our life. Up here is about enlightenment, right? So I always keep that right next to my desk so I can always see it. I'll put it back up later. But so what I want you to know is that, like, even if you just understand Christ as this mystical teacher, he was enlightened. He knows how to teach us about how to love at the highest level. And so this is what I was brought up with, although I've studied a lot of different religions and I understand the spiritual path. And so again, just let go of your egotism. When I bring up God, I call God divine love, because we're talking about the highest love that there is. And so just take a breath and hold it like this. You don't have to take in everything that I've said, but I encourage you to save this video. We'll watch it and see how much you've got out of it. Save it and rewatch it, and take notes the next time, or take notes this time. Pause, take notes, because I'm really going to go really, really deep here, so that this is our one-stop place to go, okay, here's how to heal trauma, right? Oh, let me go back to that video. Let me go back to that way 1, way 2, okay? So way 1, I talk about your inner knowing, right? And I want you to know that I have written this out. I've written this all out, like I said, and I plan to put it in an ebook type of format later. And so right now you'll have the link, depending on when you get this, but right now when I post it, you'll have the link so you can get the free PDF, which is the poster of all 12 of these ways, right? So that you can have that. And then later you can come back to this video. I plan to put the ebook. Once I get the transcript for what I'm saying here, I'm going to add it all into the book, and there's going to be an ebook. And I might charge for that, because I don't charge for anything on this YouTube, and I have other classes. But anyway, just so you know, if you want it in written form and you want the more thorough than even this, that will go along with this video. Oh, it's just 11:11 into this. Anyway, that's like alignment with divine love, right? Anyway, I have a whole a live on that, but then you can come back and read the book and watch the video and get my personality and get all these other things that are showing up dynamically with the ebook, right? So I planned this out for us. Way 1, inner knowing. God gives you the gift to know divine love. So if Jesus says, right, when Jesus said, love as I have loved you, right? Well, that's like the perfect highest consciousness form of love, because Jesus knew how to love well, right? And so if he says, love as I have loved you, then you ought to, like, we can believe that he will equip us. God, divine love, will equip us to do that. If he says, seek first the kingdom of God, and the kingdom of God is within you, then you have within you, because you were created by the Creator and made in the image and likeness of the Creator, you have the ability to do this. And what I call this is inner knowing. You have an intuition, like school tuition. You have an inner knowing, and you have intuition. So you have insight within you. Now, we also have access, and we're invited to have access to the Holy Spirit. That's different than just your intuition. But know that everybody is equipped with an intuition and inner knowing. Now, when we experience trauma and we keep trying to heal things our own way, and then we go off into addictions or something like that, or numbing ourselves, then our intuition gets like muffled down or confused. And so understand that God is not a God of confusion. But understand that you have different eyes. Okay. So you have these, like, some part of you say, I want to go take a nap. I want to go eat some food. I want to run away from this. No, I want to dig really deep. I want to heal this. No, I just, whatever. You have all these different eyes that says, I just want to go watch TV right now or whatever. And it's just like, which eye is you? And so there's the whole be still and know that I am God. Well, what's that I? You know what I mean? And so know that divine love is knowable, and you can hone your capacity to discern what is the voice of the Holy Spirit, what is the voice of your intuition. And what I was going to also bring up is that each of us have a guardian angel. Now, don't worry, this is not going to get all woo-woo way out there, because I'm still a psychologist. I went to school for 10 years to study psychology, right? And the psyche is your soul, and ology means the study of. So I always looked at it as the study of your soul. So I don't know what they're going to look at it as, but you are a soul, and you live in this body. You have a body. You've been given a body, right? And I know sometimes when we've been hurt in our body, we want to like disassociate from our body or pad our body with extra weight. That's what I had done. I talked one other video about this already, but so you can look at that. But know that God gives you this gift. God gives each person this gift to know divine love, to know the highest love that there is, right? We don't have to be stuck with this low version of transactional love where it's like, I'm going to use you, you use me, let me use you so I can use you, and let's all figure out how to use each other. That's not love. That's not divine love. That is something else that people call love. All right. And so understand that when we align, click, 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 when we get back in line, in alignment with what divine love is, and let that flow through us, then it heals us and we're more loving to other people. We're not lost in our own addictions and numbed out for the people that we love, you know, that we want that love to flow through us to them. But if it's all blocked up in us because we're stuck in our pain and stuck in running from our pain, then it doesn't get to the other people and it doesn't get to us. Okay, so let's go back to first, trust that your own body and your psyche, your soul is wanting to heal. It's calling you to heal. This is your inner knowing. It's been nudging you this whole time, you know? And so you can learn the signs to notice this more and more within yourself. Just like I learned how to play the guitar better and better and better. You know, by the more songs I play, the more chords I learn, the more I teach my fingers how to have the muscle memory. Look, I just got these done, my nails done, because I always get something to keep reminding us of our soul essence. Because I've seen things, I've seen lots of visions and stuff like that. I'm like, I didn't know I was a mystic. I don't want to just call myself that, but my friends that were in this class with me for 9 years, they're like, we could have told you you're a mystic. But anyway, so I've seen visions, and I don't mean to just stay on those visions, but I know that we have this inner body. We have inner bodies. We are a soul. I'll get to that. But we all have an intuition, an inner knowing, and we also each have a guardian angel. And I'm going to quote Jesus for this. If you want to know the verse, it's Matthew 18:10. Don't worry, I'm not going to get preachy, okay? Because the last thing when we've had people traumatize us and break our boundaries and not show us love and then be like, smile, God loves you. You know, I do not want to be like that at all. I always want to be authentic. I couldn't stand it. That made me suicidal when I was a teenager, because I was always taught like, Jesus loves you and you're going to know that love when you go to heaven. And it's just like, okay, well then let's go already. You know, it's like, so it was taught to me in a misguided or unconscious or not conscious way. So that was a long time ago. As young as I look, that was a long time ago. And I've studied long and hard, and I took Greek for 2 years, and I've gone all over the world studying to come back to here, you know, to understand what this is, so that I don't have to live with that kind of depression and anxiety or pain or apathy or, you know, stupidity. Like, I'll call it that. You know, that's just stooping your id. That's taking away your own power. You know, it's like when you learn this, I call it like, you know, a cookie cutter, or like, and I'm not putting down McDonald's. I'm just saying a McDonald's version of Jesus. It's like, here's your Happy Meal. You know, it's like, no, like food is so much more nuanced than what we can get with fast food. And I'm not putting down fast food, because I have 2 boys. Like, I will sometimes resort to fast food. Okay, but anyway, I recommend the highest and best quality of everything that you can get. And our egotism always thinks in lack, so it will always want quick fixes. But let's go back to this. You have an inner knowing. I just trust that all that stuff came up for different people, or for you, you know. Understand that if something comes up for someone else, it's like you're at a red light and a green light. Sometimes we wait at the red light and someone else has the green light and they're getting what they need from this video. And just be present, because your stuff will come up. And if you watch this another time, it might be that was actually your green light and their red light or whatever, you know, because as you grow, this will grow with you. Because I speak from highest wisdom, and highest wisdom comes to us in different levels. Now, I'm not saying everything I say is perfect. I'm just saying I planned this out, and it's taken all these years to come to me. So I want to give it to you. So Jesus said in Matthew 18:10, see that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. Now, I understand God to be the I am that I am. So God is above mother and father. God is above male and female. There's a psalm that says, when my father and mother forsake me, the Lord picks me up. Though my mother and father forsake me, the Lord picks me up. God The word for Lord there is the I am. So understand, because I know I was triggered a lot sometimes when everyone was like, your father, blah, 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 you know. It's like father issues or mother issues. Just understand that God is divine love, and our mind is just this little tool, you know. I say it's like a bottle cap, you know. It's like this little thing. And like, just like if this was a violin, you could play it, but it's not meant to play you. So notice your thoughts, but notice that you are the noticer of your thoughts. All right. You are the one that utilizes the capacity. It has a great capacity, you know, to be a brain, to be a mind, but it's not you. Okay. And so that will help us with trauma, because if you identify with your thoughts and if you say, oh, I'm so anxious, then you think all of who you are is so anxious. Check back with your soul. Wait, am I anxious? Check with your isness. I say it's like kind of who you are when you're a baby, or when you're 1 or 2 or 3, or when the world didn't get its ideas on you, in your essence, you know, or its hands on you or whatever. Understand you beyond your name, beyond your skin color, beyond the faith practice that you call yourself. You'll know, you could start to know yourself as this soul. All of this, what I'm saying, will help you understand and hear your intuition, your inner knowing. So we're taking a little bit longer time on this foundation, because it will build for all the other stuff that we're going to get through. But so, and the word little ones also is the same word for an initiate. And so if you're being initiated right now into higher consciousness, higher wisdom, higher understanding by this truth that I'm bringing to you, you're meant, like I said a little bit earlier, you're meant to know the truth. And that means know it experientially. When you apply truth, like I said, align your life with truth and live that, then you will know the truth more thoroughly, and the truth will set you free. It's just one thing to put it in your mind. It's another thing to begin to live this and go, wow, look, you know, like I did a video on healing the narcissist. It's like, it's so profound. Like I could not believe, because I had been dealing with this my whole life. And it was like the spiritual solution came to me to really be able to heal that. I don't remember the name, but I will link it. If you're on YouTube, I'll make sure to link it there. 2222. Let me just, yeah, I don't know if I have a pen. I'll be sure, because I'll be reviewing this. If I didn't, someone put a message in the comments, right? Okay, and so that means an initiate. A little one also means a little one, you know, but someone who just became aware of this and comes into this knowledge of deep love that Christ is teaching about. They're also little ones. And it says, don't despise, don't put down one of these little ones just because they don't seem to know a lot or whatever. You know, they're in their essence. They actually are more aware. I'm going to write 22 down. Narcissist, so that because I really want to remember. Okay, and so they're more aware, and so he's telling us, he's giving us a clue. Jesus is always teaching us about the highest consciousness. Now, you might take it on this level, but there's like 8,000 more deeper levels for you to get it to. And so as you grow, you can understand more and more what he's revealing. It's encoded. So you don't have to understand all of this, but one way of describing it is saying it's encoded. It's just saying, like, you know, if he's talking about a parable about farmers, he's not teaching you how to farm. He's teaching you about all of these psychological, how to clean out your life and how to live at the highest level of love, right? So I said, no matter if you're an atheist or whatever religion you are, you're not, you are equipped by our Creator with an intuition, with an inner knowing, that nudging that will be like, hey, look over here. Hey, get quiet and listen to the song that's playing. I get songs all the time, and they're like exactly about what we just talked about. You know what I mean? Exactly what I've been studying. They're so, or a billboard, or I'll see it on someone's bumper sticker. It's just like, or license plate or whatever, right? So just be present with your present moment, and start knowing that God is always wanting to love you, and always wanting to heal you, and always wanting to repair the damage that other people, because God gave them the free choice, and they were in their unconsciousness, but they also had choice. And so we're going to talk about forgive them. They know not what they're doing. But there's still the forgiveness part that needs to be part of this. And so know that because in order for love to happen, there has to be free choice. And again, I could talk about that for like 6-7 hours right now going straight if I had that time and we wanted to take that time. So it's not just supposed to be a glib, pat answer like, oh, this is why bad things happen in the world. God gives free will. But understand the beginnings of this is that, oh, there was a feather or something, that we have free will, and in order for love to be, there has to be free will. And so God's not going to force this healing on you. I'm not forcing this healing on you. I'm offering it to you, and I'm inviting you to listen and to discern and to take in what's for you and to leave the rest behind, right? And let it wake up your own spiritual path, your own understanding of deep, mystical, spiritual truths that have happened in your life because you are a soul, right? Your soul. And soul time is different than our time. That's why I have faith that it can all come out in one hour for you, right? So let's keep going on. It's like, so we have at least one guardian angel, and the word angel means messenger of God. Angelos in Greek is messenger of God, right? So you can begin to trust, if you dare, that there is a loving creator that wants you to be thoroughly healed, who is always leading you towards highest love, towards this healing. There's a Psalm 147:3. I don't remember if David wrote this or not, but David was anointed with the Holy Spirit. So David's always speaking through the Holy Spirit of God, which is this eternal God that is almighty, that sees all time, that created all things, can see these things, and was inspiring David to speak these things. And so it's very mystical and very deep, but understand that the Holy Spirit knew that you were going to be listening to this video or watching this video. And so the Holy Spirit can say something through David that he recorded in the Psalms for you to know right now in this moment in time. All right, that's what almighty and all present and all powerful and all loving is. That's what it's about. And so anyway, it says in Psalm 147:3, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And that's what we're doing right now. We're learning how to heal, clean it out and heal it, and then bind it up so that, you know, all the bacteria and all the bad, the dirt and stuff like that can't get back in, so that you are sealed, you know. An airless cell that blocks the day. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so one of my friends was this musician, Elliott Smith. Oh, he sang that to me before it was released backstage. It was just he and I, and he sang that. But it's like, it's an airless cell that blocks the day, that blocks out. Look, listen to what's going on. The trash man's coming right now, right? It's like we're taking out the trash. That's what we're talking about. We're taking it out. We're cleaning this wound and sealing it up so that the chatter of this world and its ways and the collective consciousness and the brokenness in this world doesn't come back in and pollute this, so that you return to the state of real innocence and know yourself as that, because that is who you are. All right. So he heals the brokenhearted. He's doing it right now. He, she, God is beyond that. Divine love heals the brokenhearted. Right. So I put you also have access to our Creator because you are a soul, a spirit. And Jesus said, a time will come when people will worship in spirit and in truth. You know, this woman was asking, this woman at the well was like, well, are we going to worship? Are we supposed to worship at this temple or there or in Jerusalem or where? And he said, I tell you, a time is coming that people will worship in spirit and in truth. So you'll know that you are in spirit, and you will worship, you will align with truth, and people will know that, right? And this guy, Teilhard de Chardin, a French Jesuit priest and philosopher, just a profound thinker, he said, I have a quote from him from the 1800s. He said, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Okay? So we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. Oh, let me tap into some spiritual stuff. No, we are spirit. We're spiritual beings having this human experience. Our citizenship is in heaven. We all come from that place, whether we're asleep to that and we've forgotten that or not. And he also taught that our duty as men and women is to proceed as though the limits of our abilities do not exist. All right. So if Jesus could walk on water, and he was a human, and we're like, well, that's Jesus. It's like, well, Peter got out, and as long as his eyes were focused on Jesus and he wasn't caught up by all the wind and the waves, he walked on water as well. As soon as he started sinking, he called out, Jesus, save me. And Jesus was right there picking him back up, and then they got back in the boat, right? And so know that you have there's no limits to your abilities, right? They don't exist. And it's about time that we started living like that, right? And I'm going to live like that. I don't care who makes fun of me. So, just because I'm a doctor, it doesn't mean that I'm going to limit my soul's capacities because people want me to stay in that little mind and go, oh no, you're going to step on people's toes. Well, tough. Don't watch this if you don't want to watch this, right? I encourage you to go somewhere else if you're not interested in learning this kind of deep healing. If we are souls, then the healing has to happen spiritually and physically, right? Before it, in order for it to be a true full healing, right? So it says the truth is indeed that, one more quote from Teilhard de Chardin. He says, the truth is indeed that love is the threshold of another universe. All right. So the threshold is like right here. It's like, here's earth and here's heaven, right? It's like the cross, right? And so it's just like, here's heaven and here's earth. And there's this threshold right here. And love is this threshold, right? So I have this big heart that I wear, right? And oh, look, I have a cross too. So it's just like, if love is right here, love is the middle, in this middle part, the threshold love is why this happened, but love is the threshold of another universe. And so you're tapping into divine healing, divine love, divine wisdom, divine understanding. It's far beyond your mind's capacity. Your mind, this goes beyond your mind. When Jesus says, I give you the peace that passes all understanding, then understand it's coming from something beyond your understanding. You can know it. You can experience it. It's just like when you meet someone, like when I first met Elliot, I was like, I feel like we know each other. And I didn't know it's because we both grew up in Dallas and we both had a psychiatrist as a father. Like, I thought it was that. I didn't know that your soul, at that point, I was in my 20s, could have a knowing. And that you can have a more familiar understanding of certain people, like their soul groups, let's say. But that's a long talk. I'm not going to go into that right now. But anyway, so King David said 3,000 years ago, he wrote in the Psalms that deep calls to deep. So this deep part of us has been asking for this healing. This is why it showed up for you right now, right? Because deep calls to deep. And the deepness of God answers you and gives you an in-depth psychologist who's bringing this to you, right? So we each have I am nothing. I am a window. All of this love has gone through me and cleaned out so much so that the sun can shine through me to you. Because the sun, this guy named John Butler, he's so great. Everyone can go off the rocker. So but he's been meditating for 60 years and 30 of it, I think, was the Jesus prayer. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. And so he's so deep, but he says that, he's so quiet and so gentle. It's like, he says grace is like spiritual sunshine. And so this is a grace that's coming to you. It's like spiritual sunshine that I get me out of the way so that love can just flow through me more and more, right? My eye keeps going to this. Whoa, hold on. And now sometimes your eye will go to something because it's a distraction, but sometimes not. I trust this because my brother gave this to me in my 20s. And I go back to it. And so it's like a heart, but it's like, there's a water can right here. We're watering a garden, and there's a circle. This is like an airless cell. Wow. That blocks the day. All right. So it looks like a monk or a woman, a man monk or a woman. I haven't figured out before. And with one of those old, furry type of coats, walking on a path, right? With flowers, right? So let's just see why that came up. I'm just trusting my intuition as I'm making this for you to show the example of how your intuition will bring you things, right? So we each have the possibility and invitation to access the Holy Spirit. I talked about that. And I was saying, I don't understand why a person wouldn't want to choose to have access. Not like I need to use God. Our society is like consumer, wants to just consume everything. And when God is taking us through a path of purification, of getting all of this out, our wilderness phase or dark night of the soul, we're like, oh, forget this. I don't like God anymore. I don't want anything of that God stuff. I just want these quick fixes. That's what we'll go to, because the seed wasn't deep. And so understand that, no, divine love knows. And I always pray, like, God, help me to know the difference. Help me to not cause myself more suffering, but help me to sit here and be present if there's suffering, if it takes going into the pain to get to the other side of the pain, right? So it's not about consumer. It's not about how does this make me feel right now in this moment. You know, the word temperance is to delay the immediate gratification for the greater good that's more remote, right? And so understand that if the same goes, the converse goes of that is, if you sit in the pain, the immediate pain, sometimes just like 5 more minutes of that will get you through this thing that you've been holding on to in fear for 20 years. I know, because I just did this. I was at a silent retreat from 9 to 5 this past Saturday. And I wrote so much of this on Sunday, you know. And sometimes it just takes that quiet of not going to all these things that could, you know, scrolling on our phones, you know, getting dopamine highs from that will keep us numb and keep us from getting to the other side of a pain that we might have held on to for 20 years, right? So I understand myself. I said from trauma, I had to work through so much anger, my doubts, my fears, like I said, the depression, anxiety after that, after I was re-traumatized by something. This lack of understanding of my true worth, and most of all, trusting again. So we're getting to a place where we can learn how to trust again, develop this true faith, right? And so I was saying one time I was doing this meditation, right? I practice meditation every day, quiet. You can enter into a scripture passage with Christ. But it took me a year to learn how to do that. So, but one time I was in a meditation and I heard God, he's like, this ain't my first rodeo, Cheryl, right? He's like, I created the whole universe. And I just wrote down, like, the rings around Saturn I heard are braided. You know what I mean? It's like, God knows all of this. And it's like the Wild West to us. And it seems chaos. But when we look to divine love will always reflect back to us and teach us what divine love is. You know, it says in the Proverbs, ask for wisdom, look for wisdom like you're looking for gold. So that's what we're talking about. God can heal what other people out of their unconsciousness and free choice did to harm us. Understand that healing, in order to be thorough healing, must be spiritual and physical, like I mentioned that. And I talked about psyche and ology, and I'm studying the soul. I talked about a lot of this stuff ahead of the time already. It was just fresh on my mind. So I said right here, so I'm reading this for us, is you'll look back on your life like a thread, you know, and you'll see how God has been equipping you in every moment up to this moment for this healing to take place. Just look at how your intuition and the Creator brought you to this video. Like I said, it's a miracle. I have less than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you know, and so it's like YouTube does not push out my videos. So that it came to you or that someone gave it to you, that's love. That's love, right? This came to you from love, the love of divine love, the love that's in me to take this time out to give this to you for free because I want you to have it. I don't want anyone to have an excuse as if I can't afford a psychologist. You know, oh, if only someone knew the spiritual part and the psychology part, you know, and they were creative, you know. I go into the creative arts. I do all sorts of songs and roller skating and all these ways so that you can know these truths bodily in your body, and so that you can know them in creative ways, because sometimes our defenses push out the regular talking ways. And so I have creative ways where I'm singing to you, or I'm reading a story to you, or I'm just skating by the sunset, because it's soothing, it heals our soul, and our soul just wants to be held and protected and feel safe, right? Safe and sound, right? And so I put video or ebook if you get the ebook later. Look for the link. As soon as I get it done, I'll add it here and add it to the comments. So start believing in miracles. That's another step. But I'm calling these ways to heal because this is a path, just like I just showed you. Wow, this is a path. This person's on, there's like a path, right? And I think when I printed out the, what the poster that I made, this is a picture that I took. I have it right here on my computer, and the sun's setting and I was on this path, but I don't know if the path is on, I don't see it as part of this picture, but I was on the path, right? And so this is a way you can choose or not choose, or choose what parts resonate with you, like I said. Okay, so let's move on because we only have 20 minutes left, but we can do it. Way 2. Now, I've already covered so many of these 12 ways, so I'll name them and you'll see where I talked about them. But way 2 is notice the signs your body, God, and life have been giving you. So you start to notice the signs your body has been showing you. Now, sometimes it will show you that a problem or a challenge has been showing up in your life. Or if you look at it like a knot that's tied up, or like a river, we want this river to flow. We want love to flow, right? And so I quote C.S. Lewis here. I say C.S. Lewis, he was best friends with Tolkien, the guy that wrote The Lord of the Rings. Lewis was Anglican, if you want to know his faith practice. Tolkien was Catholic, right? And C.S. Lewis was an atheist till he was 33, and he came back to know Christ, and to understand this on this really deep level, because Tolkien was able to describe it on a deep level, and the Holy Spirit was working in his heart and his life. But I mentioned them both because I read The Lord of the Rings often. I read the book because it shows the dark night of the soul, and The Hobbit shows how to keep persevering and staying on the right path, on the truth path of love. And Tolkien and C.S. Lewis have been like fathers to me. They've come into my life. And so many other people have saints of all different kinds, and Rumi. I even have this Rumi is a Sufi mystic. And someone broke it when they were over at my house, but I kept it because it's like life is a balance of holding on and letting go. This person was like, "Oh, I'll throw it away for you." I'm like, "Nope, life is a balance, right?" We want to let go of believing the old programs. When something happened to you early in childhood, you internalize, I must only be worth that. I must not be worth protecting or cherishing or loving or valuing on a deeper level. But that's not true. So that's something we get to let go of. All things that are not true, you get to let go of, right? So the things that are true, Plato said that all learning is just remembering. So the things that are true will just resonate with truth, because some part of you already knows truth, but it's been clouded over, so it's like, anyway, we're getting it uncleared as much as we can today. And so C.S. Lewis had a photographic memory. I went to Oxford and studied his house, restored his house, blah, blah, blah. I took this one class on C.S. Lewis 5 times in my college and graduate school. But anyway, he said, pain is an indicator that something needs to be attended to, okay? And so this is way 2. Notice the signs your body and God and life, divine love, have been giving you. And so the pain is just indicating to you, not that you have to stay in that pain or that you deserve that pain, but that something needs to be attended to. And so it requires your sincere love and attention. So instead of staying in the pain and perpetuating it in your life, and having it reoccur over and over and re-traumatizing yourself. When we do that, it's called a repetition compulsion. And so sadly, we do this until we attend to the core pain. We want to get to the core. Like, here's the core pain. And out of it's like, here's, your house and how you're taking care of your body and how you show up at your job and how you show up with your kids. And then your kids have problems. And then your job has problems. And then how you show up with your exercise and how you show up, with yourself in all these different areas of your life. When you heal this, the love flows out, and all of these get raised up to a higher level, back up to this enlightenment and joy. And so that's why we're going to the core. So pain is an indicator that something needs to be attended to. So I said it's a repetition compulsion when we keep repeating the same pain. How I've noticed it and how I describe it to my clients, it's like we keep going back to wherever the story broke down, right? and we're trying to make it a happily ever after. There's nothing wrong that you're trying to make it happily ever after. And so if we keep going to Mr. Right Now instead of Mr. Right, or Mrs., if you're a man here, understand that I always put it in the notes as well, in the description, that I can't be your psychologist. I'm just giving you the knowledge that I have as a psychologist. And so go seek professional help by a good psychologist if you have access to do that. I'm putting this here for all of us, in addition to all of the other great resources you can have available in your area. And so understand that you are just trying to make it happily ever after, but we don't want to take the shortcut. We want to have temperance, to delay the immediate gratification and go for the greater good that's more remote. So it's like we keep trying to go back to where the story broke down. So this way 2 equals notice the pain, and that it indicates something needs to be attended to. Know that, like, if you had a child and a child had a thorn in his or her foot, you wouldn't just say, watch some TV, that will give you a dopamine high. Scroll on your phone, that'll numb you. Just ignore it, and we're not going to pull the thorn out. No, it's like, you would be brave for the child and teach and you model to the child how to be brave. Take deep breaths and get through the, I can't cope part. The I can't cope is just, we go back to this child position where we think we can't cope because, we're the child. You can't make your own mac and cheese when you're 1-year-old. You have to wait for the parent to come in. And so we feel like we can't cope. But know that you are an adult now, right? You have the capacity to take a deep breath, and you're not in no coping. It's just your old memory of feeling that feeling state. When we're in a feeling state, we forget. We can bring our logical brain back online, right? And so what you do for that child is you would pull the thorn out, you would clean the wound, you would put salve on it, medicine and bandage it up, like we've talked about. So let's keep this really simple, because egotism loves problems, right? And so it can be addicted to problems, right? And so it loves to make things complicated. Our egotism does. It loves to have drama, and it would love, sadly, for you to be the victim the rest of your life. Part of ourself, our personality self, our egotism would love for you to just stay in a victim, because then it knows that. It's not because you want to be a victim. You want to be free, To get the free PDF, I put it on yoursoulsongs.com. That's one of my websites, /freedom. yoursoulsongs.com/freedom. That's where you can get this list, right? Because this is about freedom. But if we don't think we can have freedom because we didn't have it when we were a little child, when all this stuff happened to us, then we think they took a shortcut to yell at us or walk on us or sexually abuse us or whatever happened to us. So we learn you're only worth a shortcut. This is why we keep taking shortcuts. So I'm encouraging you, don't take the shortcut. You are worth being sober for. You are worth the long cut. You are worth watching as many of the 700 videos that I have for you to get these deep answers and get them deeply in you, right? And so, lucky for us, I put that God breathed on Adam and Eve was taken out of Adam. And so that means we have a soul. God breathed in a soul. We're not just made out of the earth, right? And so you are not your mind. You're not your personality. You are not your thoughts. You are not your past trauma. You are not your problems. You're not your egotism. But our mind, it says, I am this horrible person. I am my shame. When we're down here, we're in contracted state. We're not feeling expansive. And so we're not knowing ourselves as when you're connected, when you plugged back into God, then you feel like God. You feel all this love and you feel this knowingness and you feel like every little thing is going to be all right, To quote Bob Marley, who's been such an example in my life. I have him around. I keep Bob Marley around. I light a bunch of candles, sometimes, and I have Wonder Woman. She's like superhero, the superhero in us. We're accessing our soul self is like a superhero, right? It really is, right? If it's the part of us that can remind us, hey, you can walk on water, So remember, you are a soul. If this horrible experience each of us have had in our own way leads us back to soul remembrance, to remembering our soul, then we're going to be far better off than what the mystics say about 95% of the world, and the psychologists say, 95% of what people are acting on is habitual, just subconscious. So they're asleep. Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. you come and follow me. What does that mean? It means don't be dead anymore. Don't be dead in this repetition of just living in your old addictions or old shortcuts just because someone acted in a shortcut way towards us. All right, so if all of this and all of this video just wakes you up to your knowing yourself as a soul, then it was all worth it. Like, I'm not saying, and I put here, understand, I'm saying, you know, none of us, we don't wish this experience on anybody else. And it's like, I wrote the example of if you got in a car accident and and everyone was okay, right? But let's just say you got $2 million for some reason, the insurance is like, we just want to give this to you for that accident. You know, it would be like, that's awesome. You have $2 million. Well, what I'm teaching you right now about you remembering that you are a soul and you living from that place, aligned, plugged into God all the time, learning how to do that, learning how to hear from the Holy Spirit, how to discern, how to know your intuition, know yourself deeper than just your personality and your egotism. That's called spiritual enlightenment. That's worth so much more than any amount of money that anybody could give me right now or give you right now. I can tell you that. You don't have to take my word for it, but it's like Jesus says, you know, what does a man gain if he gains the whole world but loses your soul, right? And then the opposite of that is true. If you gain your soul, what have you lost when you let go of the world? What have you lost? Nothing. It was an experience that we had, that we were traumatized by, but now we get to be healed and we get to be awake in our spiritual awakening, right? So I'm not saying it's okay that it happened, but God takes every bad thing, and I was taught this, and this is one of the things in one of these steps, one of these ways, is understanding that any kind of wound that has been harmed to us, done to us, I put this in the last video, an equal amount of grace is given to you to heal that. When it says God heals the brokenhearted, just know that no wound is too big for God to bring healing to and clean out and make you back whole again. And I say better than whole because you'll know yourself as a soul, right? And that's way better than just being stuck in addictions and numbing yourself and running from your pain. So attend to your pain. Understand that. Let's keep going. Yeah, knowing your soul is worth an infinite more amount of money. Like, I don't even care about money at this point. You know, I mean, I can't get worried and be caught up in my mind and think again. But then I'm lost again in Maya, in earth, in the earth part of me. You know, Adam was made out of the earth. The word Adam means earth, you know, and God breathed into it. So you're a soul, right? We are a soul, having a human experience, right? Spiritual beings. Okay, so this leads us to number 3. Way 3 is persevere relentlessly to choose the path of highest love. Now, understand logically, follow the logic here. If other people took shortcuts and they didn't choose the path of highest love, then know that you continuously persevering, no matter what comes against you, no matter how many tears. I feel like I was crying this morning, like cried at Niagara Falls. And I'm like, how much longer do I have to cry? But I was crying about something new, you know, something new that surfaced. And it's just like, it doesn't matter how many tears come out. It doesn't matter. You are worth every tear. Because tears detox, and they're tears of healing. They've studied the chemicals in tears, and there's different chemicals. And so just let them flow when they need to flow, and be present with yourself. Don't get lost in all of it. But feel your feelings. You know, it was so hard because we had to numb ourselves in order to survive. So we learned to numb a bunch of this stuff. But this is a journey of you learning how to feel your feelings, but persevere relentlessly, all right? Listen to step 3. To choose this path of highest love, and God will keep teaching you what this is. So this is a choice to commit to the highest love path. Choose this path. It doesn't necessarily come easy. And read the parable about the seeds that sow on ground, and how if the ground is good ground, then the seed goes deep and it comes out. The other ones, a bird comes and takes it away. They're excited at first, but then the thorns, the cares of this world strangle it and be like, oh no, I'm going back to that, you know? So understand, stay sober. That'll be the next one, but I think is the next one. So I call God divine love. I already said this is a journey. I've talked about all this stuff. So someone not acting from highest love is what caused this. And so it makes sense logically to follow the path of highest love. And even step 1 for AA is I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. And so this is how people get sober. Okay, and so I was talking about in this, I'll put it in the book, I plan to, is that I got this in Ephesus where Mary got a house. This other woman, for her own intuition, said we ought to buy this. I didn't realize she's stepping on the serpent, right? And so when we're doing this, when we're following the path of highest love, we're learning how to step on this thing that tempts us to take the lower path, you know, whether you understand it as the devil that Jesus said fell from the sky that does tempt us, or just these different urges in the collective unconsciousness or flesh nature or whatever. You know, that's not my business to try to correct everything right now. But, you know, I said, you know, I never would get statues before because I was brought up, no, those can be idols. It's like, but I was idolizing this trauma for so much of my life, because anything you put before God, anything that takes precedence before God, before me trusting God, that God would heal this, that God wanted to heal this, that's an idol. And so the good thing about real idols is you can cast them away. They're not meant, you know, this is meant to show me the nature of God, that God wants us to be able to be like Mary and surrender and birth Christ within our lives and birth love and birth highest consciousness and step on the enemy. And so there's a verse that says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against rulers of darkness, of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And so this is no joke. This really is like, this is a spiritual attack on you and on the persons or person that perpetrated this on you. They were hooked into something less than love. And so this is, you know, if you think of the devil as just like jealous of us as humans, doesn't want us to remember that we're souls, wants us to just stay like they would say, bread and circus, caught up with just enough bread and circus entertainment. And so you don't know your soul nature, right? And so we're meant to know your soul nature. And it will do everything it can to keep going, oh, but look, you can just take this chocolate and then you'll feel better. You can put this layer, I talked about in the other video, I put this layer of fat on my body. I didn't know, because I was trying to keep people out, keep people from abusing me, and sometimes I would go up into spiritual things all the time. And I think sometimes the weight like holds you down on the ground too, because I didn't know how to be grounded. Now I know how to be grounded more. And sometimes someone said, you keep weight on because you're waiting for the love to come. But the love is right here. The love is knowable already. The love is knowable. Connect to the divine. Be here on earth. This is how you love other people, right? I'm going to put the rest in the ebook, but I want to let you know, I want to read the ways, right, before we run out of time, because I want to respect the time, and I want to respect the time of the person that I'm going to go with my child somewhere for his birthday. Anyway, so way 4 is do the boring thing. Not boring, don't take the risks that God is taking you to go on this high path, but the boring as in, this is just going to be about learning how to garden, learning how to do your exercise every day, go walking, go for a walk, calm yourself down, go take the time to pray, take the time to meditate, take the time to read the Bible. If you read the Bible, like read the Word of God, understand it, take the time to sit and contemplate it. Do these, quote, boring things. They're boring to your flesh. What happens when we're traumatized is there was a high degree of dopamine and adrenaline, all right? And so we learn, sadly, to be addicted to that high. Oh, I quote John Butler. I'm going to take a little bit extra time. I mean, I have 5 more minutes extra. I created a little buffer, but he says at any moment, and I have a short on this, it's this beautiful man that I talked about. At any moment, any time in our life, we have only one real choice, to be towards God or away from God. Towards God is always in this present moment. Feet on the ground, and you find this infinite presence. Away from God is to lose it. And then we get into what's commonly known in terms of mental agitation, fear, thought, doubt, and that sort of thing. Here, there, and everywhere. And that's all that was on that part. But so, and I also want you to know about doing this boring thing is like, the flesh wants what it wants, and it wants, I want this healing now. I want it this way. I want it that way. And it's like, but at the expense of others. So I have this quote that I love, that I have right here on my computer, that I always have next to me, but it says, I put it on the paper too. The degree to which you are a slave to your appetites is the degree you will step over other people to fill those appetites. And that's by a bishop. I put Bishop S because I want to keep it private for a reason, but I don't think he'll mind. And so the people that abused us were slaves to their own appetites. They just took what they wanted in the moment. And so part of our healing is learning how to not be a slave to your appetites. How to be like, oh, I noticed that's pain. That doesn't mean I run to an addiction. That means I take the long path of learning what high wisdom is, high love is, right? You're not created to be a slave to your appetites. You're a soul. You're meant to live from the highest love in your soul, in God, in holiness. The word holiness means wholeness, right? Like the word shalom means peace and wholeness. Like aloha means more than just hi. It means love, this flowing love, aloha, you know? Like the word in Aramaic for God is aloha. It's just like that. It's like the breath that is the love that is all of us, that's in all of us, that we have access to. It has like all these meanings in it. And so I was saying that I was aghast the other day. I was cleaning my room and I got this vision of why so many people run to being promiscuous. If this was done to us, why would we run to that? But it's like, because I saw in a vision, it's just like they're just running. And I know this from myself of just wanting to be held, you know. I thought it was just this longing to be held, but it's like really this longing to be held by someone that loves us and respects our boundaries and and honors us and keeps us safe. And so we mistake that true longing of our soul because we came from God. So we have that knowing of real love. And so we have that remembrance because Plato said everything we learn is just remembering. You're remembering that real love. But we understand that and think, I need to go get it from this guy. I need to go get it from chocolate. I need to go get it from this, from that, you know, and then we create so many more traumas because that's not the real solution, right? And so have compassion towards yourself. Don't judge yourself from your past. Guess what? We're in this moment right now. That's where you are. And so no sin is too big. And I love this woman, Latoya Okia. She, and I don't, you know, I'm not guaranteeing all these people will stay on the path. I pray that all of us stay on the true path. But she's like, there ain't, you know, no sin is too big for God's washing machine. Like God can wash. She has a video, I think, called God's washing machine. God can wash that clean, right? And so you can't out sin God. So just know you're in this present moment. And so, so don't just say, oh, like I said, don't just say, oh yeah, I forgive you. I forgive them. You know, we'll get to that a little bit, but it's just like you wouldn't leave the thorn in the kid's foot and give them a bottle of soda and a plate of brownies and a 5-hour, you know, binge watch of TV and say, oh, that'll heal this way. It won't heal that way. And you know it won't. So just know, what would I do for this child that I love? And begin to start doing that. How do I give myself the real lasting solution? How do I do that? Know that you are worth the highest love. They taught us by their actions you're not worth the highest love. But Christ showed us by his action, right? If you don't believe in Christ, it's fine. He showed us nevertheless by his action not to take the shortcut, that he faced death. He could disappear. He could walk on water. He could go wherever he wanted. And he laid down his life because someone took the wrongness of what everybody did that's what he did, upon himself, so he could pay for it and undo it. And he's undoing it in our life. When you go into it's a deep, deep, deep mystery, a mystic mystery that your little brain will not understand, but you can start to know that there's a way to unfold this truth and get to really deep chords of it so that it can heal you, right? And so, all right, I'm going to put a lot more in the ebook. Okay, so look, I'm going to start reading the rest of the ways and then I got to go, right? Way 5 is notice how food and addictions and shortcuts delay the healing. Be compassionate and kind to yourself. Challenge yourself is without judgment. That's what I always say. Challenge yourself without judgment. And so notice how going to quote food, I put food, any addiction that we have, numbing ourselves, scrolling on our TV, looking for the answers on maybe it's going to be on more websites, you know what I mean? Looking. When you're looking all the time for something that's in here, you keep telling yourself the answer's out there because it was when you were a child, the answer had to come from like a safe parent. That's what we learned about the world, but it's not. You'll see when Jesus says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, his right way of loving. And then all these other things will be added to you. All of the other things are just added bonus, right? Seek and the kingdom of God is within you. Then understand that mystery, right? So just notice, without judging yourself, how going to all these addictions and shortcuts delays your healing. And then number 6, way 6 is forgive them and forgive yourself. And I have lots of videos about forgiveness. The top of my Instagram is a 1-minute thing that you could watch that like 50 times and really learn about what forgiveness comes from divine love. It doesn't mean excuse. It means forgive them. Like Jesus said on the cross, they know not what they're doing. They didn't understand that they were a soul and they were meant to act from their soul, and you are a soul, and there will be judgment. They will be held accountable for how they acted, and they're called to go back to their soul and align back with love. If those people are still alive, they have that opportunity. You don't have to do that, give that to them. God is giving that to them. But unless it's, Jesus says, if you don't forgive other people, you won't know forgiveness, because it's like your river is all blocked up because you're holding on to this unforgiveness. I'm going to try to control this. I'm going to try to make my life really good in all these other ways. But it's just, no, like forgiveness is the way for the love to come through, right? Way 7 is know that the moment you commit to this path of faith and holiness, which is wholeness, shalom, aloha, this path of faith, holiness, divine love does everything to help you and heal you. Align back with God. And it's not like God's waiting for you to perform. He's just saying, you're saying, okay, I'll hold on to the love that you're giving me. I'll plug into this love. I want to know the real thing, not the shortcuts. And then you watch how all of this wisdom will come to you. Just like the 700 videos that you now have access to that you didn't know existed before, right? That's a picture of this. I didn't know why I was making all of those videos and not making any money on anything, just like I wanted to give back. I want to be love. It was more blessed to give than to receive, right? I wanted other people not to be stuck in the pain that I was stuck in. And I was healing in the process of making all these. So they're not all perfect, but I'm always doing my best to be aligned with authenticity and with really giving you real answers, right? So way 8 is have sincere compassion, deep love and tenderness for yourself with discipline too. Discipline is a kind of love. It's not discipline like hurting yourself or like punishing yourself. It's like, no, I'm worth getting up every morning and working out. I'm worth taking walks. I'm worth taking time out to meditate every day. I'm worth a real healing. I'm worth whatever it takes to get on the long path. Slow and steady wins the race. Think of like a turtle, not the rabbit that runs and tries to get there first. It's like, no, you're worth the discipline that's part of this deep love and compassion. Way 9 is come back into your body. Learn to trust again. Learn how to ground yourself. And I do that by walking in nature and being present in nature. Way 10 is learn the path of deep presence. God's shalom, his peace, his or her, God's beyond. Now, sometimes we're afraid to come into deep presence and be in this presence because we were hurt in the present moment. And so we think when we get in this present moment that all this pain is going to surface, and it might surface like the tears at first. It might feel like it's going to be Niagara Falls, but find safe friends and learn how to keep trusting God by coming into this presence. Way 11, and we're almost done, is see yourself as whole and innocent, as restored, as holy. Die to your old self. There's a verse, Colossians 3:3. You know how everyone has 3:3 and there's all these things. It's like, no, we're going to reclaim that. Is Colossians 3:3 says, for you have died. And I put my name in it. My spiritual director taught me to put my name. You have died, Cheryl. You have died, whatever your name is. And your real life is hidden with Christ in God. You have connection. Your life, Jesus says every day, take up your cross and die to this outer world. Let it all die. All your memories, all your understanding, your liberties, and your entire will. Let it die to the things of this world. And you come back up to Jesus resurrected 3 days later. You're meant to have access to the resurrected self, to live from that place, right? Way 12, this is the last one, right? Is with the comfort you have received. This is a verse, and I didn't write down the verse yet, but with the comfort you have received, comfort others. Comfort means to come forth. See, we were all like this in our shame and our brokenness. And now, with the come forthness that you've received, as you let this come into you, as you write comments, well, we can interact in the comments, as other people tell their healing journeys, as we talk about this and we heal this, and you go into the different videos, write comments on the other videos, you know, as we heal this with the comfort that you've received, this comfort, Jesus coming forth in your life, love, divine love coming forth in your life, you can come forth to other people and just give this love with the comfort you have received. Come forth. Don't be ashamed anymore. Let all that shame go. You're not meant to live in this shame. You're meant to live in this expanded place where Christ was always living. So he's always teaching that. You can get a Bible with the red letters in it, and they show Jesus's words all in red letters, and just read his words and understand he's talking to you about love, about really deep, high love, right? And that love will free you. And so I encourage you to go and get the free PDF at yoursoulsongs.com/freedom. All right. And I'll put the link in here and in the comments. And I wish you so much love. Please like this and share this and do all of those things. Share it everywhere so that people can heal from their trauma. I don't want people to be stuck in it. I wish you so much love. Pray for the people that come to these videos, that God will protect them and bring them into true healing. And pray for me that I stay on this path, because it's hard, you know, it's hard, but it's all worth it. It's worth it. You are worth every effort it takes. And so I wish you so much love.